The trigger enrichment is a way to activate an action only after all the triggers have been activated. This is an example of a game with two triggers. In this game, a child must first read the story and get to the last page of the story to activate the first trigger. When I reach the fourth slide in this slideshow, the first trigger of read is accomplished. Now I can answer the question below to activate the second trigger. The second trigger is a button. Once both triggers have been activated, the actions set for the trigger enrichment are automatically activated. Triggers can be activated in any order, but only after they are all activated will the main trigger enrichment actions happen. For example, let's say you made a game where a child had to find 12 hidden objects. They could find the objects in any order, but once all 12 triggers occurred, you could show the congratulations screen. Let's see how this is set up in InDesign. In InDesign, I first set the trigger enrichment by drawing a frame and picking the trigger enrichment from the interactivity panel. This is a paid enrichment you will only have access to if you have purchased it through the Aquafatis store. You first need to click on the white plus sign to add the triggers you want to have activated. Once all of the triggers have been activated, the actions you set up below will execute. You need to name each trigger you define. If we look at a trigger I've already built, you can see I have two triggers, read and answer. Once both of these triggers are triggered, you can see the actions below that will occur. There is a translucent frame that will become visible, the winner layer will become visible, and a sound will play. Now we can see where both triggers were planted. This swiping text is actually a slideshow. On the fourth and last slide, a scroll action has been applied to tell the trigger enrichment that the read trigger has been activated. This enrichment is created by using Frame Picker. You need to pick the trigger enrichment you defined. To execute will then change to change trigger value. The trigger can be identified as index, name, or all triggers. Index is the numbering order of the triggers. Name is the name you defined in the trigger enrichment. And all triggers will set all triggers to be triggered. In this enrichment, it is defined as name. That name matches the name of the trigger enrichment, which is read. The second trigger is on the box to the left of the correct answer. This box has been set up as a button. This button contains the answer trigger. It has been set up using Frame Picker, and to execute is set to change trigger value. Value is checked to send the value that this trigger has been executed. It is also possible to make other buttons that would deactivate the triggers by unchecking the value box. Now that we've seen how the trigger enrichment and the two triggers in it are set up, let's look at the game again. When I swipe to the last frame of the slideshow, the first trigger value is triggered. When I click on the correct answer, the second trigger value is triggered, and the action set within the enrichment will launch. This new enrichment gives you the power to set up your own engaging interactive games from right within InDesign without writing a single line of code. Thanks for watching.